Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Today is Thursday, June 22nd, 2022. A quick preview of the docket today. First, what happened to Dylan Rounds? What also took place in South Dakota? What will Amber Heard's next project be? Well, she gave us a hint. Bill Cosby, some liability in a civil case. Prosecutors dismissing charges against Michael Avenatti. A Louisiana custody battle. It's kind of a weird one. We'll update you on that. A Texas mayor is in some big trouble. Wait till you hear what he's charged with. And then finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. All right, Crime Talk aficionados, let's talk about Dylan Rounds. The Box Elder County Sheriff deputies are continuing to work with other local, state, and federal agencies, as well as law enforcement in other states, in their search for a missing 19-year-old man. Dylan Rounds, originally from Rigby, Idaho, was last heard from on May 28th while in a remote community of Lucin in northwest Utah near the Nevada border. Now, according to family members, Mr. Rounds lived by himself in a camper trailer where he began farming grain a few years ago. On the morning of May 28th, Mr. Rounds called his grandmother, which is believed to be the last time anyone has heard from him. Family members say he has also called several relatives on or about May 25th after having a, quote, weird run-in, end quote, with a man on a gravel road. The man was spotted several days later in Montello, Nevada, according to the family. Rounds' family asked sheriff deputies to conduct a welfare check on May 30th of this year. Deputies found several suspicious circumstances, including a pair of Rounds' boots that had appeared to have blood on them, according to family members. No tire tracks in the dirt leading to where his pickup was found, or mud on the tires, and his phone and wallet were also missing. Box Elder Sheriff deputies issued an update on what it's calling a missing person criminal investigation. This is an active law enforcement missing person criminal investigation, the sheriff stated, and the Box Elder County volunteer team has logged over 300 hours searching, covering over 3,000 miles, not including the hours and miles traveled to and from the remote areas. Box Elder County Sheriff's Office detectives and deputies have said they've been searching around the clock, weekdays and weekends. So far, detectives have spent over 650 hours investigating this case. The Sheriff's Office also said it's working with other agencies, including the FBI, the Utah Department of Public Safety, Aero Bureau, as well as officers in Weber, Davis, and Echo County looking for Rigby. But other than the number of hours and miles covered, the Sheriff's Office offered no information on whether investigators have recovered any additional information or evidence, stating that only information that would be not compromising to the investigation will be released. Family members say Rounds often visited Montello, Nevada, which is 26 miles from Lucin, and is the last known place he has been seen by somebody else. There is a $20,000 reward being offered for any information or leads that ultimately lead to Rounds being discovered. The Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with any information about Mr. Rounds to call 453-723-5227. If anyone has any information, someone, somewhere knows something, give them a call. Next, what happened in South Dakota? Well, I'm telling you, it kind of restores your faith in people. Remember that South Dakota Attorney General, the guy by the name of Jason Ravnsborg? And, well, remember he had that little car accident? Well, guess what? He was removed from office and convicted of 2 impeachment charges stemming from that car crash in which he killed a pedestrian back in 2020. Now, Ravnsborg told a 911 dispatcher the night of the crash that he might have struck a deer or some other large animal. He told investigators he didn't know he struck 55-year-old Joseph Beaver until he returned to the scene the next morning. Criminal investigators say they didn't believe some of Ravnsborg's statements. Now, talk of Ravnsborg's impeachment began back in February after Governor Kristi Noem released the video of the AG stumbling through an interview with investigators. We actually have that video up. It is embarrassing to watch. Now, Ravnsborg was charged with 3 misdemeanors, pleading no contest to 2 counts of reckless driving. He paid 2 $500 fines and $3,000 in court fees. He also had to take part in a driving education program. Now, prosecutors told senators that Ravnsborg had used his title to set the tone and gain influence in the aftermath of the crash, even as he allegedly made misstatements and outright lies to crash investigators. The Republican-controlled Senate voted to convict Ravnsborg of committing crimes that caused someone's death and malfeasance for misleading law enforcement and abusing the powers of his office. Now, Ravnsborg reportedly face showed little emotion as the vote on the first article of impeachment went down to the final senator's vote and passed with the minimum needed for conviction. During the first vote, he was convicted by the Senate 24-9. However, that changed during a second vote to 31-2. And on the third vote, it was 33-0. Ravnsborg held his hand over his mouth at the news and then wrote something down on his notepad. The conviction required a 2/3 majority. Ravnsborg, who was in his first term, is the first official to be impeached and convicted in South Dakota history. Now, Governor Noem, who pushed for Ravnsborg impeachment, will appoint a replacement. Now, I appreciate that we have to go through the process, and I applaud the South Dakota Senate for impeaching Ravnsborg. It was obvious from the very beginning that Ravnsborg was given special treatment because of his political status. The first officer who arrived on the scene let Ravnsborg drive his car home, his personal vehicle home, and then Ravnsborg comes back the next day with his aide, and they're like, maybe there was an animal over here or something to that effect. Well, maybe you should have known because Mr. Beaver's glasses were in your freaking front seat. Are you kidding me? It was so obvious that this guy was not being truthful. He tried to use his position to gain a benefit, and unfortunately, the prosecutors fell for it early on. Fortunately, the Senate did the right thing. My hat's off to them. And you know what? Maybe we should impeach more people who try to say, well, you know who I am? Don't you know who I am? I deserve special treatment in government. Get rid of them all. They have to remember they work for the people and they can be removed by the people. Bottom line, I don't care what party they come from. Get rid of them if they can't do it better and cleaner than everybody else. Remember, they're the ones that are enforcing the law. And when they can't follow the law, they need to go. All right. What is next for Amber Heard? Any big projects? Well, apparently Amber Heard is going to write a tell-all book after saying her career in Hollywood is basically over and that she has nothing to lose. Well, certainly not any more money, that's for sure. A source close to Heard said that she is definitely broke and not in a position to turn down money following the $8 million defamation loss against Johnny Depp. I know it was more, but when you offset it and you reduce the charges and you reduce the ultimate amounts for the punitive damages, it's roughly $8,340,000. Okay, I know that. In an interview with Savannah Guthrie, Heard said that she wants nothing more than to move on with her life. She said, I look forward to living my life, and I hope I have a long one. I hope in front of me, and that I will continue to walk through this with my chin up. So it seems that that didn't last long. Also, going back on her statement and writing a tell-all could put Heard into some hot water again. Depp and her attorneys will be reading and listening to everything that Heard has said about him. And if she crosses a line in the book, it could mean that she could be hit with another defamation lawsuit. Amber Heard, don't go away mad. Just go away. Keep your mouth shut. All right, quick reminder. If you like the video, hit the button. Subscribe if you have not. Remember, we just hit 210,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. Leave me a comment, hit that bell so you get notifications of when we go live or put up a new video. And one of the things that we brought you live last night was this next story. When we were doing our live show, the news came in that Bill Cosby was found liable by an LA County jury that delivered the verdict in favor of Judith Huth, the woman who has accused and now convinced a jury that Bill Cosby sexually abused her when she was 16 years old at the Playboy Mansion way back in 1975. Now, the jurors determined Cosby intentionally caused harmful sexual contact with Miss Huth, that he reasonably believed she was under the age of 18, and that his conduct was driven by unnatural or abnormal interest in a minor. Huth was awarded $500,000 after a 7-year-long legal fight. Celebrity lawyer Gloria Allred celebrated the win with Huth, saying that while this was not a criminal ruling, the civil case shows there's another avenue of justice. This decision comes nearly a year after the criminal conviction in Pennsylvania for sexual assault was thrown out and Bill Cosby was freed from prison. Now, Miss Huth's lawsuit was one of the last remaining legal claims against Mr. Cosby after his insurer settled many others against him and over protest by Mr. Cosby. Now, Cosby did not attend the trial or testify in person, but short clips from a 2015 video deposition were played for jurors in which he denied any sexual contact with Miss Huth. He continues to deny the allegations through his attorney and publicist. But hey, if you're a defendant being sued and you can't even show up to your own trial, hey, if you don't care about your case, why should the jury? All right. Prosecutors are dismissing charges against Mr. Avenatti. But you say, Scott, I thought Mr. Avenatti was pleading guilty open. That's right, he did. Let me explain. So the federal prosecutors plan to drop several outstanding charges against former celebrity attorney Michael Avenatti, according to a Tuesday continuance request filed in the Santa Ana, California court. The government filed for a continuance on June 15th, seeking additional time for trial to begin on dozens of fraud and embezzlement-related charges that were originally filed back in 2019. The next day, Avenatti pled guilty to 5 of those charges, including 4 wire fraud counts related to the embezzlement of the client's fund and 1 count of attempting to obstruct the Internal Revenue Service from collecting some $5 million worth of payroll taxes for a coffee shop that Mr. Avenatti owned. The day after that, the defendant filed a motion urging the court to reject the government's continuance request. And in their Tuesday filing, prosecutors took issue with Avenatti's contention that a further continuance should be disallowed under the Speedy Trial Act. Prosecutors will already be able to obtain the highest possible prison sentence under the federal sentencing guidelines based upon the 5 counts that Mr. Avenatti already pled guilty to, which were open. 31 charges against Mr. Avenatti that remain are largely superfluous when viewed through the lens of the actual punishment that he could receive. In other words, those counts would all merge into the counts really that he pled guilty to. So the government will likely ask the court to consider the entirety of the allegations against Mr. Avenatti when considering his sentence. He faces theoretically statutory maximum penalties of 83 years in prison, and we all know he's not going to get that. The defendant, of course, will make his own case before the California judge, and his guilty pleas were made in an open fashion, indicating that he has not reached a formal plea agreement with the government, which is basically where somebody pleads guilty, and in exchange for that, the government agrees to dismiss charges, maybe stand silent at sentencing, to recommend a particular reduction under the federal sentencing guidelines known as a 5K 1.1 motion. Avenatti said, screw it. Let's just go in and plead guilty and I'll take my chances at sentencing, which means he and the government could not agree on an appropriate number. Frankly, I kind of like the move. It was gutsy, but Mr. Avenatti needs to go to prison. Please go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to crimetalksearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. All right, an update on that Louisiana custody battle. This thing is just getting weird. All right, Krista Abelseth has claimed that her daughter's biological father, a guy by the name of John Barnes, sexually assaulted her when she was 16 after they met at a bar in 2005. But Barnes has denied these allegations and was granted full custody of their now 16-year-old daughter in March after Abelseth reportedly gave the girl a cell phone she was using to send inappropriate text messages. I think we refer to that as sexting. That's right. So Miss Abelseth has claimed that her daughter was conceived during a sexual assault that Barnes may now face criminal charges for. So on Tuesday, Judge Jeffrey Cash reversed his decision granting Barnes full custody of the 16-year-old girl. Now, Jarrett Ambu, who is representing Abelseth pro bono, which is free, in her custody fight, said he was meeting with the parish district attorney to discuss potential charges against Mr. Barnes. This meeting comes 7 years after Abelseth first filed a complaint about the alleged sexual assault to the sheriff's office. Now, Sheriff Daniel Edwards has since admitted his office dropped the ball by not investigating the complaint until last week, but denied that it was intentional in any way. The attorney noted that the decision of the court reversing the previous decision cannot be appealed, adding that they thought that it was the right thing to do and it's a step in the right direction. Abelseth also suggested that reversal was a result of the ongoing media coverage regarding this case. Ms. Abelseth and her attorney have received so much attention. It pressed the issue to make these people do what they're supposed to do. A trial to decide which parent gets full custody is now set for July 15th, and Ambu said they are building a case. Now, there are some mitigating circumstances in this. Now, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't go around having sex with someone under the age of 16. One of the Reich Law Firm rules of dating that we've always stressed to clients is don't date anyone under the age of 18, get a birth certificate, and even then, you want independent verification, okay? But in most jurisdictions, 16 is the age where somebody can have a reasonable belief that the woman or male was over the age of 18. They don't have to be a reasonable belief. Now, in this particular case, the Mr. Barnes stated that he did nothing inappropriate and that he reasonably believed that Miss Abelseth was, in fact, over the age of 18 because she had an ID, apparently a fake ID, to get her into the bar where she was drinking into the wee hours of the morning to believe that she was over 18. Certainly mitigating, and it's also worth noting that Miss Abelseth did not go report this case until really 7 years after her daughter was born, and then once again after she lost custody of the child. So this is why I don't do family law, ladies and gentlemen. It gets nastier than any criminal case possibly ever could. And then you throw in the threat of criminal prosecution. I'm telling you, it is just the worst. Give me good old guns and knife cases any day over a divorce case. Won't do it. Done 2 in my life. Not going to do any more. Worst experience in my life as a lawyer, swear to God. Now, let's talk about a Texas mayor, or maybe soon to be former mayor. Well, this guy's name is Matt McElravy. He is the mayor of Pilot Point in Texas. And, well, he's been arrested. Scott, what was the mayor of Pilot Point, Texas, being arrested for? That's right. He's been arrested for online solicitation of children. The mayor, who's also a teacher in the small town, was busted by Dallas police during an undercover operation. Now, the mayor is married, father of 2 boys, also works as a design engineer, and serves as the men's prayer meeting leader. Of course he did. Well, the mayor was recently elected to the position of mayor of the town of 4,000 people north of Dallas. And the mayor's office did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Good call there, mayor. Anything you say can will be used against you. Only thing you should be doing is filling out the resignation. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. What do I say? I mean, a lot of these people, they put themselves in a position of authority where people will say, no one's ever going to believe you. I'm the mayor. I'm the attorney general. You can't do anything to me. Unbelievable. All right, finally, our dumb criminal of the day. On June 20th, officers in Oklahoma were called to a fast food restaurant after a customer found something unexpected in their order. Investigators found a small bag of drugs in the to-go order, which tested positive for methamphetamine. Now, Bryce Francis was arrested for distribution of a controlled substance within 2,000 feet of a school and possession of the controlled substance. The police department posted on their Facebook a reminder for the public that when you go out to eat, please check the food, especially before consuming it or handing it to a child. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, do not use the fast food drive-through window as your distribution network. I'm telling you, it's been tried before, okay? You're not the first one. You're not going to be the last. And guess what? You're going to mess it up. You always mess it up. You mess up the orders, okay? I've seen it in food trucks. I've seen it in other restaurants and here as well. I'm telling you, don't distribute drugs. It's just the wrong thing to do. It's dumb. You're going to go to prison. And I'm telling you, those years in prison for that $20-$40 you think you're going to make, really, it's not worth it. Don't do it. So if you distribute drugs, you're dumb. You do it through a drive-through window, guess what? You're a dumb criminal of the day. Congratulations. All right. That's all we have for you today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.